10-second delay, Nerd Squad. It is 1:31 p.m. PST, February 7th, 2025. We have some updates, including another $10 million knock that just occurred about 40 minutes ago, another incident of stalking, harassment, ADA, etc. for everyone's indictments that are soon to be unsealed. Beyond that, the other updates that we need to go over, I've written in the description here. 1:14 p.m. stalking / trespass / harassment at 12:50 via $10 million knocking. 8:48 a.m. more legitimate police reports rejected, i.e. obstruction. 2:75 a.m. plans to quote double down, wage a war for Monday and or Saturday. 2:05 p.m. Unit 207 visited by female federal felon just before 4 p.m. She gave directives for when I am, quote, asleep. Now, I am going to play the preceding live stream, especially because Unit 207 continues to be on the little rampage that they've been on. Pay close attention because they've been illegally and criminally shutting off live streams in addition to all of their stalking and obstruction and evidence tampering and witness tampering charges. Remember, that knocking constitutes the Class A felony of witness tampering, just like all 40-something knocks you've sent my way illegally without immunity since the first week of August, you dumb fucks. This is a consensual recording.
You should say right there.
With Mystic Gwen, pursuant to the FBI's instructions. I'm not an employee of the FBI, but I've been authorized to state I'm an informant since the last week of June because so many of your charges involve your crimes against me as a result of that designation.
Ones, let's click on it together and see how long the video is. Because the male and females upstairs are laughing and thinking they're smart and sly because of this particular ongoing crime. Okay. Looks like it's still showing a runtime of 7 minutes. And this is going to cover the updates I just went over because they just criminally and illegally shut it off. So same day, it's just now 5:23 a.m. this Friday. Pay attention to these updates.
The bars where you input the title and description were half of the height that they should have been. When pushing next, it didn't come to mandatory things that I needed to impute and select, like whether or not there would be an age restriction on this video. As a result, I had to restart and reinitiate a second time. That specific issue I've never encountered before. We do have some updates, which I'll throw into the description. But in my mind, these updates aren't necessarily the most specific. They just sort of further reflect the imbecilic nature of the federal felons. And those updates are that as of this morning and last night, yesterday, just before 4 p.m., Mrs. 80 plus years was in the building giving directives for something while I'm asleep. The plan of attack now, which I, again, speculate is largely due to the prosecutors facing federal disbarment and any other attorneys involved facing federal disbarment. The plan now is for them to double down on their fraudulent and perjury claims. For instance, the quote, fraudulent, demonstrably false claim that they have all been sticking to, that anything and everything they've done has been a reactive measure, considering they had been premeditating and I had been reporting this behavior that they've since made overt and actionable with their co-conspirators. That's a big one for the FBI, but there is some plans upstairs for Monday. Now, I don't know if that's this Monday or the Monday after that. There also was some plans discussed for Saturday. I just speculate that these are to do with the remaining felonies they have yet to perpetrate and or that they're going to add additional counts for, like breaking and entering. Depending on how you count it, it will be their second or third attempt of that, if that's what their plans for Saturday or Monday coincide with. They also believe they're going to, quote, wage a war with me, which is just kind of ironic considering they've been illegally detaining me for over half a year. They have stolen tens of thousands of dollars from me. They currently owe
5:00 a.m. PST, and provides further information regarding subsequent events in the continued escalating criminal conspiracy perpetrated by individuals associated with the North Everett Precinct, Unit 207. At 2020 Highland Ave, Everett, Washington, and their co-conspirators. 1. Incorporation of prior filing, all facts, invoices, statements, and incorporated documents referenced in the original formal judicial notice of February 4th, 2025 are hereby incorporated by reference as if fully set forth herein. 2. Supplemental information, subsequent events. The following events transpired subsequent to the filing of the aforementioned formal judicial notice, further demonstrating the ongoing criminal conspiracy, the imminent threat posed by the perpetrators, and their continued obstruction of justice. This section details further criminal acts and ongoing conspiracy subsequent to the filing of the aforementioned document on February 4th, 2025 at 10:08 a.m., further demonstrating the blatant disregard for the law and the ongoing threat posed by the individuals involved. February 5th, 2025, 11:52 a.m. to 11:58 a.m. PST, a female individual associated with Unit 207 identified as having actively participated in stalking and harassment activities against me since April 2023 and described as a protege of the woman facing over 80 years in prison, was observed engaging in frantic cellular phone communications. During this period, she actively attempted to prevent me from overhearing her conversations. Based on the context of this ongoing conspiracy, the nature of her actions, and my informed perspective as a designated FBI informant, it is reasonably speculated that this individual was engaged in acts of perjury, further conspiracy to obstruct justice, and or furthering the aggravated criminal conspiracy involving the North Everett Precinct, the Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office, and the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, DCYF. February 5th, 2025, 8:20 a.m. to 8:27 a.m. PST. Male individuals associated with Unit 207 engaged in furtive and suspicious behavior, interpreted as an attempt to test the FBI's surveillance capabilities or to provoke a reaction. This behavior is consistent with their ongoing pattern of attempting to, quote, catch the FBI, end quote, as they phrased it, demonstrating a continued disregard for the federal investigation and a commitment to their criminal objectives. Ongoing stalking, hacking, and threats. The individuals associated with Unit 207, the North Everett Precinct, and the Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office continue to actively stalk, hack, and harass me. They have stated as recently as this morning, February 6, 2025, that they are planning to break into my home and detain, arrest, and/or unlawfully commit me. They stated that this will occur either today or by Monday. Premeditated second/third break-in. Individuals in Unit 207 have reiterated their intent to perpetrate a second or third, depending on whether prior attempted entries are included, breaking and entering of my residence. The first instance occurred on January 29, 2025, and involved the exploitation of my disabled sons. The prior attempted illegal entries and stalking, moving of private property to do so, peering into my windows, numbering at least 38 separate instances. The current plans apparently involve the utilization of co-conspirators, including, but not limited to, Erica and John Owens and/or Anne Marie Bauer, child abuse and exploitation, the continued involvement of and planned use of my disabled sons in these criminal activities constitutes aggravated child abuse and endangerment. These actions are a direct result of a year-long campaign of targeted abuse designed to exploit their disabilities and cause regression and escalation, which has been perpetrated by these individuals and their co-conspirators as outlined in the incorporated documents. They instructed their named co-conspirators Erica Owens and Richard Garcia to perpetrate abuses upon my sons on a weekly basis. Planned, quote, defenses, end quote, and obstruction. The planned, quote, defenses, end quote, of this criminal enterprise, as articulated in the tort claim filed on August 14th, 2024, and incorporated herein, are demonstratively fraudulent and constitute further acts of obstruction of justice. These defenses were conceived prior to many of the overt acts of this conspiracy and are now being pursued in a desperate and illegal attempt to retroactively justify their criminal conduct. They are attempting to make me cooperate with some form of prosecution via coercion of Erica Owens. Their stated motives to the FBI and others continue to be self-serving, protecting their careers, reputations, and income has always been of primary concern to them. Coordinated, aggravated conspiracy. The entirety of their actions, as detailed, form the basis of a coordinated and aggravated conspiracy to deprive myself and my sons of our civil rights and liberties. 3. Conclusion. The information presented in this addendum, taken in conjunction with the original formal judicial notice of February 4th, 2025, and all previously incorporated documents, paints a damning picture of escalating criminal conduct. The individuals associated with the North Everett Precinct, Unit 207, and their expanding network of co-conspirators demonstrate not only a blatant disregard for the law, but a stubborn commitment to their failing conspiracy. Despite clear warnings, despite the weight of evidence accumulating against them, and despite the ongoing federal investigation, they persist in their obstruction of justice. Their evidence tampering, their threats, and their unconscionable exploitation of vulnerable children. Their attempts to retroactively fabricate a legal justification for their actions are transparently fraudulent and will not succeed. They continue to dig a deeper hole for themselves. Their recent actions, including the continued plotting, the frantic communications, and the blatant attempts to interfere with this ongoing investigation, are not signs of strength. They are signs of desperation. The, quote, cycle of subterfuge, end quote, as previously noted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, continues. It is a cycle that is rapidly spiraling toward the inevitable conclusion. Full accountability under the law. I declare under penalty of perjury that all of the aforementioned is true and correct. Sincerely, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. Now the FBI wants me to read you the February 4th document that this is in addendum to what I just read. That is significantly longer. So let me scroll down to it. It is now 5:45 a.m. PST. Oh, and you know what? Because of their criminal conduct for the last 24 hours, I need to make sure this is even still recording and that there's audio. Let's see. Is there audio? Is this still recording?
I don't
Is
hear
there
anything.
audio? Is this still recording? All right. Here we go. So, for this one, I'm going to read it straight off of Facebook, which does include like a couple of sentences, just kind of letting you know what it is. Second police report of 2/4/25 at 10 a.m. Also served on federal felons via email and provided to law clerks at Snohomish Superior Courthouse via email. ADA mandatory filing in any all cases with my legal names, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. Law clerks urgent, please and thanks. ADA mandatory file in any all cases with my legal names, Mystic Gwen, aka Lynette Renee Hansen. Subject: aggravated and ongoing criminal conspiracy, obstruction of justice, evidence tampering, child abuse, child endangerment, stalking, harassment, extortion, fraud, civil rights violation, and retaliation against FBI informant by North Everett Precinct. Unit 207. And associated individuals. 1. Incorporation of prior documents and declarations. This report serves as a formal complaint and notification regarding the ongoing criminal activities perpetrated by officers of the North Everett Precinct, individuals associated with Unit 207 at 2120 Highland Ave, Everett, Washington, and their co-conspirators. This report hereby incorporates by reference the following documents, which detail the extensive history of this criminal conspiracy and provide irrefutable evidence of the crimes committed. Declaration of Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen, dated December 14th, 2024, revised 8:07 p.m. PST. Specifically noting the 8:07 p.m. revision due to prior documented unlawful tampering and alteration of the original document, further evidencing the pattern of evidence tampering and obstruction of justice. Addendum to the declaration dated December 19th, 2024. Addendum in amendment to declaration dated December 29th, 2024. Tort claim filed August 14th, 2024, served upon the North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County prosecutors, et al., 9 days before the second actionable kidnapping of my sons and 3 days before the first such kidnapping. All police reports filed by Lynette Renee Hansen, from August 14th, 2024 to the present date, including but not limited to reports regarding threats to break and enter my residence, acts of stalking and harassment, acts of coordinated conspiracy, acts of illegal detainment, acts to tamper with evidence such as the repeated termination of live streams, acts to obstruct justice such as the rejection of legitimate police reports, the premeditated and actualized kidnapping of my disabled sons, the exploitation and abuse of my disabled sons, including the use of my sons to perpetrate the felony breaking and entering on January 29th, 2025. The specific incident on January 29th, 2025, involving the felony breaking and entering of my residence, facilitated by the use of my disabled sons after 19 days of planning by individuals in Unit 207 and their co-conspirators. All other incidents documented on my YouTube live streams and other recordings. 2, critical context and ongoing illegal detention. Now I'm reading this verbatim, but I'm actually going to adjust 2 portions of this part I'm about to read. The date and the length of time I've now been illegally detained. That's the only adjustment I made. As of today's date, Friday, February 7th, 2025, I have been detained within my own homes illegally for 185 days. As of today's date, February 7th, 2025, I have been illegally detained within my own home for 185 days. Since August 6th, 2024. My front door has remained closed and locked since January 2nd, 2025, per explicit instructions from the FBI. With the sole exception of the illegal forced entry on January 29th, 2025. I have not, nor will I, interact with anything or anyone on the exterior of my home, per FBI directives. 3, pattern of criminality, fraudulent court orders, and retroactive fabrication of legal basis. The North Everett Precinct, in conjunction with the Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office and their co-conspirators, has engaged in a persistent and egregious pattern of obtaining and utilizing fraudulent court orders to harass me, obstruct justice, and further their criminal conspiracy. These orders are obtained through fraudulent means, without proper service, and in violation of my due process rights. It is hereby unequivocally stated that any and all court orders bearing my name, Lynette Renee Hansen, or Mystic Gwen, issued in 2024 or 2025, are deemed fraudulent and part of this criminal conspiracy. The possession, attempted enforcement, or any involvement in the acquisition of these orders implicates individuals in multiple felonies, including but not limited to conspiracy, fraud, obstruction of justice, and witness tampering. There are mandatory minimum sentences for anyone involved in these fraudulent orders. The ongoing attempts by these individuals to retroactively fabricate a legal basis for their criminal actions will fail. This is a desperate and transparent maneuver that will not shield them from liability. Their attempts to legitimize their actions through fraudulent means are an exercise in futility and further evidence of their guilt. 4. Financial penalties. As previously documented, the following financial penalties are in effect and will be rigorously enforced. $100,000 per day for each day of my ongoing illegal detention. $10 million for any attempted illegal entry into my residence, with an enhancement to $25 million if I am asleep at the time of the attempted entry. This penalty applies to the recent breaking and entering on January 29, 2025. $10 million for the use of my sons to commit any illegal act on behalf of the conspirators. Doubling of all penalties if fraudulent court orders are used in conjunction with any illegal entry, attempted illegal detention, or any other criminal act against me. Quadrupling of these fees for any of the above criminal acts if they are perpetrated within 7 days of a rejected police report
snap.
regarding
80
said
million.
acts.
80 million. That's what the total is
5.
for today. I better change the title of
Absolute
this.
lack of
80
immunity.
million. Duh.
Let it be known throughout the North Everett Precinct, the Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office, and among all of their co-conspirators, including but not limited to Erica Owens, Richard Garcia,